remake of the memorable
15
scenes.
seconds before we're on the air, say hi to everybody on Facebook.
Hi,
Hey!
everybody on Facebook.
There we go.
And I've got sword and sandal movies.
Okay, here we go. 5 seconds.
Plenty of time.
So let it be written.
And it is finally Friday morning, and glad to have you along for Community Spotlight on KRIM this morning. And as we do on Fridays, we have with us today your hometown movie guys, and we have all of them too. Tina, Craig, and Andy with us in the studio. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good. Great.
They're all getting, we're all in our places with bright shining faces. Or at least faces, anyway.
I have a face.
Yeah, I have a face. You're qualified, yeah. Hey, so is everyone doing okay this morning?
You betcha.
Let me get a microphone up there next to your face. All right. And we're also saying hello to the people that are following us on Facebook this morning. Glad to have you along for
I think that's so cool.
yeah, for a little look at what's
honest
going
to
on in
goodness, that is really wonderful technology.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We like to help with these things just a little bit. Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at that. We can see me.
Chris just got a new screensaver for my computer.
Okay, then.
Anyway, this morning talking about, of course, the movie industry in general, but also specifically what's going on at the Sawmill Theaters. And so Craig with us from Sawmill Theaters, and I know that, boy, it's been really anything but good news the last few weeks because you were, forced to, stay closed and everything. And the movie industry itself seemed to be putting off the release of movies. Any new progress since last Friday?
Well, they once again kind of reset their timeline.
Right.
So we're the movie Unhinged with Russell Crowe,
Right.
a road rage movie. Looks pretty good, but that's kind of the one that I think they've set as the film to open it all up.
And when you say it looks pretty good, when's that supposed to happen?
Well, right now, August 21st.
Oh.
So now this is that's
last week, wasn't it August 14th?
No, I think last week it was originally went to the 31st. I think it started July 1st was actually the original date for it.
Okay.
Then they pushed it to July 31st. Now they've pushed it to August 21st. And that's what they've been doing with these films is they keep pushing them back. And what's happened, we were kind of going along there okay, and then California shut down, New York shut down. There's a lot of theaters there, obviously. So then the studios push all this stuff back.
So bottom line is coming to a theater near you someday.
Someday, yeah. So again, we're shooting now for kind of the middle of August, I guess, is what we're looking at, and hopefully that happens. But
and as I've harped on numerous times, the Sawmill Theaters have done so much good as far as, you've done blood drives, you've done all kinds of different fundraisers for good causes and things like that. You've really been a key player in the community, and we all need to jump on board and help you get you guys back up and rolling in a big way once they do give you the green light. And they haven't said yet when that green light is, or have they?
Well, we have to wait for the governor on that one. Of course,
Right.
That's his order that has us shut down right now. And
Tina, would you like to add anything to that?
Let me just roll my eyes melodramatically.
Ouch, man, that was loud.
yeah. So like I said, we're right now we're hoping to get open on the 14th.
Right.
August 14th. Be a few Disney films there, some older stuff.
Oh,
But,
cool.
at least get open a week before, and then for the August 21st, where we get some new product going.
Right. Interesting. So what Disney flicks are you thinking about revisiting?
You know what? They've got Disney did a program where they're releasing 3 movies a week. That one is Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, there you
The
go.
live action.
The live action.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Beauty and the Beast.
And that's with what's her name from Harry Potter?
Emma Stone?
No, not Emma Stone.
Thompson. Emma Thompson.
Emma somebody.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? I forget the other two. But what they were doing is kind of a kids movie, which would be the Beauty and the Beast one, and then
Right.
a couple more that were a little more adult type films. So,
Right.
well, like I said, right now we're looking at opening with those on August 14th, and then August 21st would be Unhinged, and then some new stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, when I think of Disney flicks, I hearken back to my childhood, and I remember going to a drive-in theater in Phoenix and seeing Bambi when it first came out. And I remember I was young enough that was a pretty emotional film for me. Now when I look at it, it's like, man, I can't wait for a commercial. I need to get up and go to the bathroom. But
Did you ever see the short film Godzilla versus Bambi?
Yes. It's the shortest film ever made.
It is awfully short.
It's really, it's
so
like,
I guess you could say it's kind of just a snack film.
if you blink,
Wow.
it's
Godzilla
it
versus
starts
Bambi.
and finish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who won?
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Gee, what a shock.
It's a big stomp.
Yeah, I bet.
It's so cute. There's a little Bambi's has a little fawn spots still and is eating a little leaf of grass and is so cute. And then boom, Godzilla's foot comes down, squashes Bambi like a pancake.
The end.
The end.
Pretty deep plot there, yeah. What about it? When it comes to Disney films, you got a favorite? I mean, Disney came out with a lot of stuff, and they've certainly changed in the last few years. It's a whole different focus now. But when you think back at Disney films, anyone that's a favorite?
Go ahead.
Enchanted.
Enchanted. There you go. That
I
was a
just
good one.
love it. I love the music from that. I had to drive to Sholo recently, and I took the CD, and I was singing it loudly in my car by myself. I mean, it's a wonderful movie. Everybody should see that
I'm
again and again
I'm
and
kind
again.
of getting the impression that you don't normally do that when there's other people in the car.
Sure I do. Yeah.
She don't care.
My husband
Yeah, there you
will
go.
tell you. Yeah.
And that's why he didn't drive here today.
That's
yeah.
right.
What about you, Andy? Any a favorite Disney flick?
There are. I like the musicals,
Right.
And there are particular songs in each one of them
Right.
that I like. I mean, going all the way back to the dwarves, seven dwarves singing "Hi Ho."
Yeah.
I mean that. It's kind
And
of
nowadays-
pretty dated now, but
Nowadays, that's a greeting, so it doesn't have quite the same meaning.
good lord, you can't say that on the radio.
Oh, that's right. I can't. I'm sorry.
But you could say it on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in The Little Mermaid, the Calypso crab sings a song called "Kiss the Girl,"
Yes,
which is
man.
just
Me love the
wonderful.
kiss the girl.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Aladdin has a song, "A Whole New World."
Right.
And it just makes your heart soar to hear some
Yeah.
of these things.
Well, it's like in Enchanted,
Right.
the happy little working song where she dances with the rats, and she says, "There's a line, even though you're vermin." It's just, and
My wife sings that song to me all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's very clever. It's the kind of Disney song that we all, if you listen to it, it will become an earworm and you'll be
Right.
singing it, which is not the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah,
right?
I hear you. Yeah. How about you, Craig? Any favorite Disney flick?
I don't like musicals.
They like you.
Probably the Marvel stuff.
Oh, okay. There you go.
The Avengers. That was.
Oh yeah, now they belong to
these-
Disney, don't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we can
that's
count
all-
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not
What a-
real Disney. That's,
What a traversity that is.
yeah, a traversity.
And Tina and Andy, you both are chronologically challenged enough to perhaps remember. I don't remember if this was a Disney flick or not, but
I remember when Steamboat Willie was new.
that goes back a couple of years. Now, there's a movie, though, that I remember watching as a kid, and I still will watch it every time I see it on TV, and it's not necessarily I don't know, I think it was a famous movie, but it's not really an epic thriller or anything. But do you remember the movie Spencer's Mountain?
Sure, with John Wayne.
Was John Wayne in that? No, I don't.
I don't
Oh no, that's a different one.
know.
Some other John.
Yeah, okay.
Different mountain.
Well,
That was
anyway.
Brokeback Mountain.
There you go. That's a whole different mountain. Yeah. Anyway, well, the bottom line is we're anxious to hear, a definitive opening date, and it sounds like we're only a couple of weeks away now of getting the Sawmill Theaters back up and running again.
Well, you know what? By next Friday, I should have a more of a solid answer there. But again, just kind of watch what the governor's saying. If he allows theaters to open up in the middle of the month, we'll get it going.
Nice.
And I think that's going to happen. AMC, Regal, some of the bigs are trying to get going now.
Right.
Christopher Nolan's Tenet, we talked about that one before. That moved to September 3rd.
Oh, wow.
So for kind of a Labor Day is when I think things are going to really kind of kick back in
Right.
into
Yeah.
gear.
Makes sense.
Just a Disney segue. There's a great movie. I can't remember whether it's Prime or Netflix. It's called Saving Mr. Banks.
Oh yeah,
And-
Tom Hanks.
Oh, Tom Hanks, and it's about Mary Poppins. It's about the actual, and Emma Thompson is in that, and she plays the writer of Mary Poppins.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a beautiful movie, really charming.
I remember seeing Mary Poppins when it first came out too.
Yeah.
Man, I'm
yeah.
old.
She had no desire to have
Yeah.
her movie made into or her book made into a movie.
She fought like a tiger.
She didn't like the idea. Wow.
No.
No. In fact, Walt Disney, I mean, he just pursued her relentlessly. And, she...
Should have sent in Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, I mean, it was... But it's a wonderful, wonderful, between the two of them, back and forth about how she puts her foot down and she says, oh, no, Mary Poppins would never do that.
Ah.
Yes.
Very interesting. Wow. So, when it comes to the Sawmill Theaters, one of the concerns I know we've talked a little bit about before is this has got to be really tough on all your employees. I mean, a bunch of them had to go on unemployment there for a little while, then they came back, and then they got to go back on unemployment, and it always takes a few weeks to get those wheels turning and everything. So, I mean, this has been a rough time for your people down there.
Oh, no, this is I said before, I think we're probably if we're the hardest hit industry, but it has to be top three anyway.
Yeah.
The whole film industry is really taken a blow on this, and sure, yeah, there's tens of thousands of people that are employed by movie theaters, and not just movie theaters, but then making the films, and it's not just actors that do these things. There's caterers and all these
all
makeup
the
people,
crews
the crews and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so this has really been a it's really hit us hard. And
Well, and there's just something. I mean, like we watch movies at home, believe it or not, I mean, it's all well and good, and I enjoy watching a movie, but it's not like going to the theater. I mean, there's just something special about the big screen. You got great sound system. The quality is good, and I don't know. There's just something about being with an audience watching something for the first time that I think you can't experience any other way.
One of the things I miss about what the Sawmill Theater did is the classic movies. I miss all the people out there, all the regulars who used to come every month. We would vote on the next month's movie.
That was fun.
It was a wonderful experience, and I really hope to bring that back.
Right, but lately they've all been classic films, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But I agree with you, and that did seem to be something that was really gaining some traction. And,
It was.
and,
We had full theaters.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
great.
no, it was a
Yeah.
it was a set thing, and we had 50, 60 people that were regulars that always showed up.
But I do remember, what you were saying, Tina. I know my wife and I went down there for one of them. I don't remember what movie it was, but the place was full. And
It was great,
yeah.
and everybody knew each other, and there was this. It was a big social
Camaraderie.
event.
there you
Yes,
go.
it was lovely.
Well, I tell you what, we have to take a quick break, and when we come back, going to talk more with your hometown movie guys. And in the meantime, going to make sure that we get some air going in this room because it's getting a little steamy in here, and
It's
not
hot.
for any good reasons. So we'll be back with more on KRIM and your hometown movie guys right after these words.
Master jeweler Michael Manasseri is moving the House of Color jewelry store to the Swiss Village, next to the Candle Factory. In the House of Color, you will find on display a selection of one-of-a-kind creations or diamonds and gemstones and custom-made mounts handcrafted by Michael. If you're looking for something unique or something custom designed, the House of Color jewelry store will be open Mondays through Fridays 9 to 4 and Saturdays 9 to 2.
Hi, Rim Country. This is Jennifer Smith, Payson High School Longhorn, owner of Precision Intercast, and proud sponsor of K-Rim Community Radio. For the last 28 years, it has been my family's pleasure to support Rim Country schools, sports, and community activities. I was with my dad the moment he fell in love with Payson, called my mom, and they decided to move our family and business here. Every day, I'm glad they did, and I'm honored to carry on their legacy in our community.
And welcome back to Community Spotlight on 96.3 FM KRIM. As we do on Fridays, talking with your hometown movie guys, Tina, Craig, and Andy with us in the studio, and talking about the during the break there, talking about the effects on the theater industry in general. I mean, certainly the deleterious effects have not been only for the Sawmill theaters. I mean, the movie business in general, both on the theater end and the production end, have really been impacted by this.
Well, you hear AMC Theaters has been rumors of it going bankrupt.
Wow.
Have been
And
floating
AMC's
out
a
there.
big company.
They're the biggest. Yeah, they have 7,000 screens, I think, in America.
Wow.
That's not counting the international screens.
That's more than
so
Payson.
a couple. We got some small theaters.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but and I guess we are starting to see some positive signs, though. You know, the international is starting to come back a little bit more. You know, China has 70,000 screens there.
Right.
Oh my word!
It's a huge, huge there. So they've started open. Europe is starting to open up some of their screens too. So. You know, once the studios start seeing some revenue flowing again, then we're going to start seeing some of these newer films coming out. So there's some positive signs coming up now, and
Well, that'll be good too, because then if they get back to work making movies, maybe they'll be less apt to be spending their time making political statements.
true, yes.
Sorry, just a passing thought.
Well, and just another thing that I remember, because I'm thinking back to before this happened, and it just seems like a different era. Craig was put on the faith-based movies.
Right.
And they were great. I mean, we had, groups of people from churches, and, kids came. And,
Yeah, sometimes whole church loads would come.
Would love it, yeah.
It was great.
Well, and not only was that really cool to see in Payson, but in the industry in general, it seems like there's been a lot more interest in these faith-based movies, where before, for a long time it seemed many, if not most, were kind of, had cheesy production value. It's a technical term we use here on Friday mornings. There's been some bigger bucks thrown into some of these faith-based movies lately, and they're coming out with some, pretty decent productions.
Oh, no, sure. And I think it goes back to War Room, really was one that I kind of point to at that. It was number one in the country for 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and made some serious money. And that's really what that takes. If there's some cash flow, then the production values are going to go up.
Well, I think it's an interesting statement about our culture in the United States, that there's a hunger for that. I think that's a very promising, statement.
And that's going to be that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, those smaller studios, I
Pretty
don't know.
vulnerable.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to be doing. If a lot of that was PureFlix,
Right.
based down here in Scottsdale, actually.
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to be able to just kind of hunker down and wait this out, or what's happened there. A lot of uncertainty, really.
Interesting. Well, which brings up another good question of when it comes to faith-based movies. Andy, do you have a favorite that just comes to your mind like that?
Yeah. The one with Charlton Heston.
Does it come to your mind? Ten Commandments?
Oh,
Ten Commandments?
Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ben-Hur. Yeah.
Ben-Hur. Yeah.
Now, that was a high-budget faith-based movie.
Yeah, and I believe there was a chariot driver in that fell and was killed during
Yeah,
the
that's
filming
right.
of that.
Yep.
And if you look at the old one and you realize that they didn't have any kind of CGI, they did it all live.
I mean, that was the real deal.
Holy moly, that thing is.
What about you,
Getting
Gene?
back to your production values, the guys that made PureFlix, the movie that they made after War Room, which was big success. They interviewed there's two brothers that do it, and they interviewed these guys, and they asked them, what their biggest difference was going forward, from their success, and they said, well, we got to make our own sets this time.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, making a movie with no sets? You just
Yeah.
have to do it with grandma's bedroom.
Yeah, right.
It would have been bad in my world.
Yeah, I mean, what a handicap to try to do a serious movie with no money.
Yeah.
And I'm really fond of I Can Only Imagine.
That's a great
and,
movie.
And
Just all about the
Dennis-
writing of the song and
Dennis Quaid.
yeah.
He is wonderful. He's just wonderful. And then what was the one of the last ones that we saw here before?
I'm guessing The Notebook.
shutdown?
No.
No, it was
before the theater
with
shut down.
Shania Twain and Gary Sinise playing the parents. It was a true story. Oh my goodness, sorry, brain fade.
Yeah.
Senior moment.
I still believe.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was. I Still Believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequel.
That was fabulous. Fabulous.
I don't know. And
Yeah.
what about you, Craig? And when it comes to faith-based movies, any favorites?
The older stuff, 10 Commandments.
10 Commandments. There you go. And when you look back at where technology was during the time when they filmed the 10 Commandments, being able to have the parting of the Red Sea and all that, and it looked pretty plausible. And for the special effects that they had back in those days, I mean, that had to be quite an interesting undertaking in and of itself.
And
Yeah.
Ben
You know
Hur.
how they did that?
Ben-Hur.
How's that?
They dug a big concrete ditch, kind of like if you imagine a big long, like the bay in the car oil change bay,
Right?
And so they made a big one of those out of concrete, and then they poured water over it, and then they ran the film backwards.
Yeah.
Well, that just kind of makes all kinds of sense, doesn't it? Just when I thought they were really creative, it's like, oh, that was no big deal. No, but
No, it's, I mean, it's
You know,
clever.
it's pretty-
and
yeah.
I was thinking, I was watching something last night, and I thought to myself, geez, I know how they did that. And it kind of takes a little of the magic away,
Right,
you know,
right.
when you've seen so many movies and you're so familiar with it that you can figure out, you know, how they do some of the stunts.
Right. Sometimes it's just better if you don't know, right?
Yeah, well, it's more fun sometimes.
Hey, by the way, Jan, you know, we're on Facebook Live right now. So
Hi,
if you
Jan.
ever wondered what these people look like that we talk to on the radio, you can tune in right now to KRIM's Facebook page and see us all live. And matter of fact, we'll be taking a special extended version of this show, an extra 30 minutes on Facebook Live. So stick with us there. In the meantime, Jan on Facebook, regarding the point you made about the movie Mr. Banks.
Yes.
She says, "Oh, I love that movie."
Yes.
And she also says, "Hey." Jessica saying good morning. Sandy saying hello from Kentucky.
Whoa.
Hey, how are y'all?
Or
out
as they
there?
said in The Last of the Mohicans, Kentucky. April says hello. Joanne says hello, and we say hello too.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So anyway, so follow us along on Facebook. When I think of faith-based movies, though, going back to that real quick, I mean, I think Passion of the Christ
I was just gonna
has got to be
say,
at the
yeah.
top of my list. I mean, and it's not easy to watch, the crucifixion of Christ and everything. Of course, I mean, you know, depending on where your beliefs are, I mean, that can have extra impact. But the realism, when you start thinking about what a lead tip whip you know, can do to a person's back and everything. I don't really know how they pulled that off, but it was very convincing.
Well, and speaking of China, if I might segue,
Sure.
the latest thing that I hear, I don't know if it's true, but it was, you know, there was an article about it, that China has kind of cracked down on films portraying, quote, supernatural or otherworldly.
In other words, faith-based.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and they are saying that Jesus needs to be portrayed just as a guy, you know, without. I mean, they're getting to the point where they're a little real. Well, they've been oppressing.
Cue the South China Sea.
Yeah, they've been oppressing, you know, Christians
Yeah.
and the Uyghurs, the Muslims, and so they're saying that they don't want to have a portrayal of anybody, but particularly of Jesus, as anything other than a guy. So, you know, the Chinese, we need to keep an eye on those
For
guys.
some reason, the emperor doesn't want to have anything visioned above him, I guess.
Yep,
Good luck with that one, buddy.
yep.
Anyway,
And you know, really, we never hear anything about something that was in the news all the time before, Tibet. We never
Oh, right.
hear about Tibet. And if you look back at some of the movies that were made, Brad Pitt, 7 Years in Tibet, that was a fabulous movie.
right.
But you don't hear about Tibet anymore.
By the way, hi, April and Joan, just joining us on again on Facebook Live. Tibet. I was involved in a relief operation up in that neck of the
Oh,
woods.
wow.
I didn't actually have a chance to go there, but we sent supplies there. And,
Yeah.
that's a completely different culture, very
Yeah.
different sort of place all the way around.
I had a friend, very long time friend who passed away unfortunately, but she was involved in rescue efforts for monks and nuns from Tibet who were oppressed by the Chinese when the Chinese invaded.
Right.
Very interesting. I mean, it's very poignant.
Well, and a lot of the same sort of thing going on in India right now. And
Yep.
that's a whole nother radio show. But
Yep.
of course, Christian ministers, they're any outspoken Christian at all, have been oppressed for a long time there. And it's
Yeah.
there's been some more outbursts of violence lately in that regard.
You know, what you do see there too with China's, you know, different versions of films coming
Yeah.
out where they'll have to,
They have to
yeah,
adapt.
yeah,
Well,
take things out
the original remake of Red Dawn, didn't it have the Chinese as the bad guys? And the Chinese got all huffy about it, and they made, I
Made 'em
think it was the North
Koreans or-
Koreans all of a sudden became the bad guys. Yeah.
And
I noticed in I think it was White House Down or Olympus Has Fallen. I can't remember which. The bad guys were North Koreans,
right.
and you know, North Koreans are bad guys, but they're not.
Also,
Not in the same
Team
s-
America,
Right.
Team America
Yeah.
World Police.
Yeah.
It was a North Korean. So.
Was it? Yeah. Not the
I have a
Chinese.
pretty simple philosophy in my life of I just don't like going places where people are eating dogs.
Yeah.
Spent some time in South Korea, and they do that there too. And matter of fact, a gal with an agency whose name we won't share.
CIA.
She was my driver and interpreter for a few days when I was there doing a project. And the last day there, she wanted to take me out to this little neighborhood restaurant to just experience
A little fricassee
local life.
doggy.
And it's one of those tables where everyone's sitting on the floor, and the table's about maybe 20 inches off the floor, and there's a big gas wok in the middle of the table, and they bring in some spicy meat and put it in there and start cooking it up, and it smells like Korean food, and all of these like 5 different kinds of kimchi and all of this other stuff, and it was about 2 bites into it, thinking, wow, that's different. When I found out that Fido gave his all for our lunch,
Yeah.
and sadly this gal was involved in a lot of different famine relief operations, and so it was really important that we finish every last piece of the meal, and that was one of the tougher things I've done, which doesn't say much about the tough things I've done.
You mentioned Fido.
Yeah,
Did you ever see that?
there was a movie called Fido.
There's a movie called
Yes.
Fido.
Yes.
And it's a terrific movie.
Just tell me it wasn't set in Korea.
No, I think I think
just
it's
checking.
in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Someplace up that way
A
anyway.
little friendlier there.
Yeah, and it's after they recast World War II as a zombie apocalypse. And then,
Of course. How could we possibly get through a half hour without talking zombies? Right?
and then after the war is over and the humans survive,
Right.
There are all these zombies around, and they're in kind of like I have in my backyard to protect my apple tree. If there's a cage, and they have cages around the enclaves where the people are. Well, this one kid has a pet zombie that he calls Fido, and it's a very sweet kind of family movie. Except
Yeah, I always think of sweet family movies being zombie movies. It's kind of an endearing sort of thing.
well, that's a complete different twist on things, and just
This is
maybe.
Andy's family.
Yeah, that's different. Well, I tell you what, sadly, we're out of time here on K-Rim, but if you want to follow along with us, by the way, Terry says it'll be fun to play the older B movies like Them or
Ooh.
Tarantula.
Okay, who starred in Them?
Them.
Roddy Piper.
No.
No, that was
was
They
They.
Live. That was They Live. Yeah.
I don't know, who was in it?
James Arness.
Oh, and he wasn't playing Matt Dillon.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow,
You
James
rock.
Arness.
You should have been competing in trivia.
Well,
We've already humiliated the boys in trivia.
well, the big question is, did Festus have a bit part in that movie?
No,
or
he
anything?
did not.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
He was my favorite. Of course, there was always Miss Kitty, but that's another
See,
story.
if we played some old John Carpenter, They Live, Escape from New York, Escape from L.A.
Right.
with Snake Plissken.
Prince of Darkness.
Yes, Prince of Darkness, and The Thing.
And we leave you with that. We're going to continue on Facebook Live, so join us if you will there. Just look for KRIM FM on Facebook, and we're going to continue the conversation. But for those of you listening on KRIM, we're going to get you back to more of your favorite music here in just a moment. But first, these words. Stick around.
James Arness play
Chris
Thing?
Lloyd said
The
they
original-
used
the original
the
thing?
zombies.
He was the monster. He was the monster.
They use what?
He said they used the zombies as butlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was
Somebody
saying.
saw it.
Yeah.
Somebody besides me. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, Chris Lloyd. So he's watching right now.
Oh.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh heavens, I love these people
So,
who do stuff.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, you're still
They use the mummies as butlers?
No, the zombies.
The zombies.
I like mummies better. They don't smell quite as good.
Yeah, put the air on too.
Zombies?
I think.
They're kind of technically zombies, though. Really.
Well, they're dead and they walk around, right?
Yeah.
But they're fully clothed.
Doesn't matter.
You open-minded sort, you.
I am. No, I'm very liberal in what I consider a zombie, and it's a dead guy who's walking around. You know,
And
that's-
remember, you heard it first here on Roller Derby.
That's the only thing you're liberal with.
A little break from the Republican headquarters.
Yeah. Well,
So-
liberal and leftist are two different things.
There you go.
That's
Put
right.
that, turn the air up a little bit, that'll feel good.
So we got a little bit of airflow back in here. When we close it all up, it gets a little stuffy with us all in here because we're all full of hot air. But we're glad that you're joining along with us on Facebook Live. And if you have any other questions for our hometown movie guys, just give us a little message on there right now. By the way, Sandy says, I moved back home after 30 plus years there. Apparently, I'm not sure where if she's talking about Payson or maybe North Korea, I don't know. But Sandy, thanks for joining us this morning. And, Kentucky to Payson to Kentucky, that's where it was.
Oh.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
And Dana's saying good morning, thanks for coming along. And let me turn down this music in the background because that's just distracting. And anyway, so now that we can come a little bit more unhinged because we're not on the radio and we're just on
So the FCC is not in charge.
right. Now we've had many conversations about favorite this kind of movie, favorite that kind of movie and stuff. But if you were going to, and quick responses here are important. Just I want your knee-jerk
Well,
reaction.
we respond as quickly as we can,
Okay.
but by
What
golly,
is the
young
worst-
fella, sometimes it just takes a while.
Ah,
I've been told. Anyway, what's when asked the worst movie of all time, what comes to mind?
Poultrygeist.
Poultrygeist, not Poltergeist, but Poultrygeist. That's zombie chickens.
It's zombie chickens. It has, to my knowledge, the only time they've ever put on film an orgy with lesbian zombie chickens.
oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Little feather boa.
It's, it is in every aspect of it. It's just horrible.
That sounds like a tanker. that's
Yeah,
for sure.
it's made by the Toma film production company, the same people that brought us actually the perfectly decent movie, The Toxic Avenger. But they made.
You say that like you've seen it.
Well, sure.
Toxic Avenger, sure.
Everybody's seen it.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But that was the only.
Classic.
Yeah.
By the way-
that was the only thing that Toma ever did, and Poultrygeist was by far their worst.
By the way, Chris Lloyd online just said Fido was a good movie. Been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie too. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Who knew?
No, there are a lot of good zombie movies. You keep turning up your nose at them, and shame on you.
I'm rather close-minded that way. I like live people. Chris says they use zombies as butlers. That's cool. Pat just joined us, said, really, no social distancing and no masks. Well, we're all COVID
Healthy.
negative, so we're going to try and keep it that way, but thank you for your concern. And let's see here, Chris again says, anytime, so love it. So a lot of people
We
join
can't
us on
social distance in this studio for Pete's sake.
It's pretty
Really?
tough in here.
Yeah.
Plus, well, anyway, I won't go. That's a whole other talk show. But what about you, Tina? When it comes to worst movie of all time, what comes to your mind?
Well, I'm having a blank on past movies, but last night I watched a movie that I had actually acquired from a thrift store.
Right.
It's called The Drop, and it has Ed Hardy, and I think it may have been James Gandolfini's last movie.
Wow.
And I forget how you pronounce her name. My husband will correct me, but Numi Rapace. She
Oh.
was the one who was in The Girl.
Naomi Rapace.
Naomi, yes. And, with such a cast, I'd never seen it before. And I'm watching it, and I was about an hour into it, and I thought, this is not going to get better. This really sucks. And it did, and I took it out, and I put
And what
it
was
back
the name
in-
of this movie that I
It's
don't
called
ever want to watch?
The Drop.
The Drop.
Don't watch it. It's
Drop
just,
the Drop.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Now, that's not the worst movie of all time, but that's my worst
Oh.
movie in my limited memory.
Most recent bad movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, of all time then?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
So many bad movies.
You know
so
what?
little
If
time.
you look at Mystery Science 3000,
Mhm.
There'll be plenty of them.
there are so many
But at least-
obscure movies that are so bad.
And at least you have the back and forth going on down at the bottom of the screen, which makes it a little more tolerable.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. And you can see the worst movies of all time, which I mercifully can't remember any of the names of, so.
Gotta love it.
yes, sometimes you got to look at those where is it a serious movie that just flopped, or were they trying to make kind of a bad film, and that was part of their intent to be kind of Poultrygeist, I think, might be one of those that's kind of, how serious were they? I mean, they weren't,
It was bad by
you know,
design.
yes, I mean, lesbian chickens.
Well, and playing off of that, difficult though that may be, recently I watched the recent Elton John movie.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Yeah.
And while I'm a bit of a piano player, and I've followed Elton John since long before he came out of the closet, back to 11/17/70, and Elton John, and some of the Tumbleweed Connection, some of the old albums. And so I enjoyed the music. I didn't really, I found the storyline to be kind of uncomfortable, but I mean, I guess that's his real story, so, you know, you got some insight there. But I can't help but say that, and I said this to my wife as soon as we were done watching the movie, that that's 2 hours I'll never get back. I didn't find it as entertaining as I thought I would. I definitely enjoyed the music, and the rest of it just was uncomfortable for me. I'm that way.
So we saw that in the theater.
Yeah, I liked it. But I liked it because the music was just fabulous.
Yeah, it was.
But
His
that,
drug problem really got away from him. Alcohol
yeah,
and all
no
that.
kidding. That happens in
Yeah,
rock and roll
that-
business.
that's
I
right.
think he just did, celebrated 30 years?
Yeah.
I think I just saw an
Being
article on
so-
that the
being
other
so-
day.
30 years sober?
Yeah,
Yeah.
30 years sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 years sober.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who?
Yeah, because I think that was back about the time, Goodbye to Yellow Brick Road came out, which that's been,
A while.
yeah,
Yeah.
longer than I want to admit.
But the classic worst movie of all time, I think the one that's most often brought up for that the winner of that accolade is one called Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
It's Bela Lugosi's last
Oh,
movie.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
wow.
yes.
Yeah.
Was it a
Bela-
talkie or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was made in the 50s, I guess.
Because he got his start back in silent movies, did he not?
He went back a long ways, yeah.
Yeah.
But by this point in his career, he was a morphine addict, so
Yeah.
he was not as sharp as he used to be.
Played a very mellow part, did he?
Yeah, he played. I think he played a vampire.
Well, that would suck.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah, and there's
What
one.
a shock.
There's one scene, and this might actually have killed Bela Lugosi. It might have, because I think it was after this, he performed this scene that he became sick, and then shortly after he died. But he's wrestling. He's in a mud pit, wrestling a tentacled alien, and I think that the exposure gave him pneumonia or something, and then he died shortly thereafter. He did not finish the movie. Ed Wood, the director.
Oh, Ed Wood, yes. They
might
actually
be
made. they
the
actually
worst
made-
worst movie director of all time.
Oh, he was. And what was the movie they made? The Ed Wood with Johnny Depp, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It was really. It was sort of like creepy to watch because you felt like a voyeur into some really icky stuff. Ed Wood was twisted.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a terrible movie director, but very determined, and he would make movies no matter what.
No matter what.
and they were every single one of them he made was terrible, but Plan 9 was the worst. It was so bad that they had you can actually see the strings holding up the flying saucers.
Yeah, that's kind of bad. By the way, Chris Lloyd says, Santa Claus conquers the Martians.
That was not a bad movie.
You've seen this?
Of course.
That to me sounded like a title that just someone made up. I didn't realize-
No. There's a great scene in there where they have some very young, not illegally young, but 18, 19-year-old actresses painted green because they're Martians, right? And that's all they've got.
Yeah.
So many questions for later. And if I'm not mistaken, that starred an underage and clothed Pia Zadora.
Oh, really?
Zadora.
Oh, Pia Zadora.
Wow.
Who was,
Yes.
yes, that was like her most famous movie, I think.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the worst movie of all time? No, that was a good movie.
Well, let's see. We got a number of different comments here. I'm trying to find some that
Yeah,
just left me here.
Yeah.
To be the worst movie, it has to be something like what was that one that he made? Ed Wood made Doris or Davy or something, where he another quirk of Ed Wood is he liked to dress up in Angora sweaters, and he made a movie about a cross dresser.
Yeah.
1955 or something.
Well, that's a pretty racy
Avant-garde.
topic for back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say, I'm sorry, before you have a...
Ashley, by the way, says she felt that the Blair Witch Project was and I quote, crap movie. And
I'd agree with you.
I would too.
Yes.
It was fascinating what a small budget they were able to pull that off with, and what a
Yeah.
big success it was
Right.
Monetarily. But yeah, it's another one of those movies where when it's over with, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just wasted a couple hours.
Great,
You know-
great marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harken back to Warren Beatty, and I believe it was Diane Keaton in Reds. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I thought that was pretty bad.
What was the name again?
It
Reds.
was called Reds.
It's
And
a
it was,
celebration of commies.
Yeah, celebration of communism.
Maybe it was a Cincinnati baseball game. or
But
something.
Warren Beatty, yeah. I mean, he was in some good stuff, but
Didn't-
that wasn't one of them.
What did Diane Keaton play? Who is that famous
Oh.
commie, American commie? It's about American commies.
Yeah,
Okay.
American commies. Was it Lillian?
No.
No.
And he was somebody.
Yeah, he was a
very
famous commie too.
Who was actually, his character. I wish I could remember this guy's name. He's a very famous American communist, and he was he's actually buried in the Kremlin.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Had to be fairly noteworthy to have.
Yeah,
that on.
he's a noteworthy commie.
Terry, by the way, Terry, hi. She says, "Attack of the Killer Tomatoes."
Oh, yes.
Another good movie.
Yes,
That's
yes.
a good movie. That's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
You seen this too?
Oh yeah.
Oh
sure,
yeah. Yeah, we've all seen. I mean,
I don't get
we're
out
movie
much.
guys, come
It
on.
was that one, and then
1981.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space was another one.
Killer
kind of-
Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, another one kind of along those
Oh,
lines.
and the rap on Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is that they don't know how to combat them because they don't know what kind of herbicide to use. Is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? Is it a vegetable or a fruit? What should we use on these guys?
See, that's
So-
what
These are the
they-
pressing
they were-
issues we need
Yes,
answers to.
yes.
They were trying to be.
Yeah,
so that's
sure.
what we were talking
Yeah.
about. They were trying to be kind of.
American journalist John Reed. Who
John
was-
Reed, yes, there we
Warren
are.
Beatty and Diane Keaton played Louise Bryant, who, both
Famous commies.
famous commie scum. Yeah. Sorry.
And there you have it.
There you
And we don't apologize to you comics out there. But the for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, but there are a lot of movies that are kind of quirky but are fun, like Earth Girls Are Easy.
go. Yeah.
I mean it's not a great movie, but it's fun to watch.
That's a sort of a frivolous little froth.
Yeah,
A
froth.
frothy, frivolous thing.
Yeah, it's funny.
All of the one-liners that have come to my mind are
Yeah, and
inappropriate.
A young Jeff Goldblum,
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
and actually everybody in there is famous
And young.
and young. Yeah.
If you go back, Lake Placid was
Oh, yeah.
just a great movie. It was up Lake Placid, and there was a giant alligator in the lake, though. It was Betty White,
Yeah.
Robert
Yeah,
Platt,
yeah,
Bill
yeah.
Pullman. Great film. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a
Placid,
quirky.
that's in New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did the alligator get all the way up
It's
there?
well that. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
But they did a sequel that was because the first one was so good, so I went into the sequel. Just a terrible movie, and that made it worse because the first one was so good, so you had some. You went into it expecting something good, and then you're just let down.
It's just
And
trash. Yeah, you're right. And they
just-
get 2 or 3 sequels,
Oh,
and
just-
all of them were awful. And well, now we're into worst movies that are just there's no point in watching them at all. You get stuff like Sharknado 4. There's no
Sharknado?
Yeah,
Is that tornado of sharks?
yeah. And that's bad enough. But Sharknado 4, where
Tried
it's
it
just
4 times.
it's just the same thing again and again and again. You know, the budgets keep getting lower and lower.
Going to prove that there are people in movie production companies that are smoking the wrong stuff.
Yeah, they'll do anything for a buck, and sometimes it works. Like
The Blair Witch.
the Blair Witch, they made it for under $100,000, I think, and it did $100 million at the box office.
Right.
That it was interesting how they made it look like, you know, they were just out there with their little home and they really were out there with their little home cameras. But I mean, they made it look fairly plausible,
Yeah.
fairly operative word.
And another terrible movie is,
But wait, there's more.
yeah, what's the one about the giant piranha?
Oh, Piranha?
No, Piranha's about piranhas, I think.
They've done a few Piranha movies. They did the one up there at, is it Lake Powell? Or,
Oh, yeah, no, that was a good one.
Havasu, yeah.
No, that was the Lake Havasu. That was a good
Havasu, yeah,
one.
where the,
With Piranha?
Yeah.
well, there was an earthquake, and it
And it
opened,
opened up a
opened
fault.
crack. Yeah, in the ground, and there were prehistoric piranha that were still laid down there, and then they came up, and it was spring break, so.
All the Spring Breaker girls were there.
Yes, yeah. it was,
I've been to Havasu for spring break. And
There's at the end of the movie, there's a just massacre scene where these piranha get into all these kids, and it's
Right.
just,
Ooh.
oh yeah.
Bloodbath.
Oh, it's over the top, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good movie. That's not a bad movie.
That was pretty good, actually, yeah.
so there are good bad movies and bad movies. That was a good
No,
bad.
yeah, I mean, if they're fun to watch, you know,
Yeah.
that's
Nothing
all
like
we ask
watching
for.
a bunch of kids get eaten in the lake. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
We're learning so much about Andy today.
Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That
Killer
was a
Clowns.
good, bad movie.
Yeah.
So what planet did they come from?
They got into
Planet
that.
Circus, or
I don't know. They just showed up, and
Yeah.
there's some kind of creepy looking clowns. They'd catch people and wrap them up in cotton candy, and then they would kind of dissolve them, and then they'd suck their juices out of them.
you know, there are some people that are
Straw.
just profoundly scared of clowns, and I don't know if they were
Yes.
terrorized as a young kid or something like that left a lasting scar. But I've known a few people that I've worked with over the years that really have a hard time with clowns.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
And I think,
Yeah.
I
They
think
like
it-
you.
I think it's
I don't think
explained.
they do, no.
It's explained in Uncle Buck, which was a great
Yes,
movie.
that was a good
Uncle
one.
Buck.
With
Yeah,
John Candy.
John Candy, and
Ooh. I don't know.
McCullum.
The kid
Home
from
Alone
Home
kid.
Alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay
Macaulay
Culkin.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Haven't seen him in too much lately,
Nah.
except the tabloids.
He grew up.
Be a DJ or something now, dude?
Maybe, I don't know.
He's well known for going, ah! Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, John Candy plays his kid's uncle, and he's watching him and his sister while their parents are out of town, his brother or sister or somebody. And he hires the kid's birthday, so he hires a clown. And the clown comes to the house, and he's dressed up like a clown. But he's a bum. He's not a good person. He's a bad person, and he's drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning. or
Drunk
something.
clowns, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, and I think you say that somebody is traumatized as a kid. I think people sometimes in the clown industry are not the best people to be associating with children because it scares them, and it's really kind of illuminates that in the movies. Of course, we learn everything we need to know from the movies.
Well, and all this time I thought that people that were in the carnival or circus business were upstanding, solid citizens.
No, they're recently paroled convicts in the general rule.
But hey, other than that,
Yeah, but another bad movie is.
there's so many.
Well, there are
There
lots
are.
of them. Yeah,
There's more bad movies than good movies, right?
yeah,
For sure.
Sharktopus.
Yeah, Sharktopus.
Did
Did you watch those?
I've watched part of the original.
So this is a shark with tentacles, or
Yeah,
what?
that's essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Half shark,
Half shark.
octopus.
Sounds like a real deep plot. I feel unfolding here.
Yeah,
Some,
no.
Sharktopus
not really.
versus whale wolf.
Whale wolf?
Whale wolf. Yeah,
It's a
he was
hairy
part,
fish.
part wolf, part killer whale. It's a great fight.
Keep your
Great
dogs
fight,
away from
yeah,
the beach.
yeah.
That's
Must see TV.
that,
yeah.
that's just crazy. I mean, I can't believe anyone coming to anyone with a storyline of, hey, I got this idea for a movie. Will you fund it?
Yeah,
It had to
well,
be
it'll
submitted-
only cost $12. Sure, let's do it.
And then we'll have lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take us till Tuesday.
Yeah. Wow.
There's an audience for this stuff, though. For
Right.
these kind of, that's what we say, you know, these I don't know if Sharktopus is even a good, bad movie. It's just a silly movie. You know, it's not meant to be, it's just meant to be a crazy, over the top. I don't know. People want to see that, though. You know, there's
Sometimes,
no,
yeah. There's, 330 million people in the US of A, and there's a whole bunch of them in China. And I don't know if, Sharktopus would be a big thing in China or Mumbai or someplace, I don't know.
A lot of states have medical marijuana now, too, so
Well, yeah,
that helps out.
yep.
Twinkie sales are through the roof.
But, say what you will about marijuana, it dumbs you down. And, there's some
Well,
pretty...
some states have recreational marijuana, so that's
And
even.
that may be just around the corner for Arizona. Who knows?
There's a point where those two,
Intersect.
Sharktopus and medical marijuana meet.
Yep.
It's usually pretty close to the snack bar. So I've been told. When I look back at old movies, we were talking earlier about, especially when it comes to some of these horror movies and epic things like the Ten Commandments and that kind of thing, but special effects in the old movies. Another one that was, when you look at it now, it doesn't hold a candle to anything. But back in the day, I thought it was pretty intriguing. The old original King Kong,
Oh,
Sure, yeah.
and climbing the
Yeah.
outside of the Empire State
Yeah.
Building and all of that, and
Yeah.
they did a pretty respectable job of not making it look too terribly fake.
Well, the remake is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
Jessica, what's her name?
Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
That's right.
She's a good actress, but that wasn't a good part for her. So
Yeah,
she screamed a lot.
What's the name, too? He won the Academy Award for True Grit. The new True Grit.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges was in that.
Oh wow.
King
Yeah.
Kong, yeah.
We just watched a good movie the other night, and that was.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Only bad ones.
That's, where he plays the dude. It's
Big Lebowski.
yes, the Big
Yeah,
Lebowski.
Another now classic movie.
Oh, super classic.
Wow.
The Coen Brothers.
Was
oh my
not
goodness.
well received at its opening, but now is
Yeah.
people watch it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And again, medical marijuana comes into play here.
Yeah. Dude.
The flip side of that is a movie that, and there was a few of them, that did really well in the theater, but I thought was one of the larger wastes of my time, was Jurassic Park.
Oh, shame on you.
No. No.
Yeah. Take yourself to the woodshed.
No one's even willing to swat me on their own. I got to do it myself. I don't know. I find looking at, just the idea of, on some island somewhere there's all these things, and we're going to let people in not only once and have a problem, but we're going to go back and do it again.
Well, yeah, they've done at least 5 now.
Yeah, something like
or
that.
maybe more.
I was just never really. Chris says Killer Tomatoes had a very young George Clooney in it,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
indeed.
that.
Well done, Seth.
and who knew?
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
great.
we loved the trivia.
And Chris also says love Uncle Buck.
Yeah, me too. He makes it's a kid's birthday, so he makes him a pancake that is so big that they have to flip it with a snow shovel. It's just terrific.
Well,
it's a really fun movie.
We're getting some really interesting input from Chris Lloyd this morning. He also said, we were talking about clowns and how some people have this chronic fear of clowns that we were theorizing might go back to their childhood or something if they were traumatized. Chris Lloyd says, they say people are afraid of clowns because they never know their real emotions because of the makeup hiding their face.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
That makes me feel dumb.
Well, and this is why.
I didn't think of that.
I'm just going to bring this up. All these people wearing masks out there in the public, it's very hard for me because I am very much a face, reading faces, and I just have a hard time with that.
Yeah. Well, here's another one that I had completely forgotten about, but I completely agree with. Randall Lee Nelson says, every sequel to the Tremors movie.
Yeah.
That was
And
another-
the original, in my opinion.
No, the original was fabulous. You know, I've watched maybe not all of them, but I've watched a bunch of I probably have seen all of them, and none of them are as good as the first one. That's for
That was a
sure.
little bit like Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Where that first
What's the
one
one
was
with
so
the-
good, and then they just.
Yeah, what's the one with it? I think it's John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker. It was the L. Ron Hubbard one.
Battlefield Earth.
Yes.
That was awful.
It
L.
was
Ron Hubbard was
horrible.
involved in making that movie?
Oh, it was his book.
Yeah, it was-
Yeah, he was.
Don't you know about
he
L.
was
Ron
a
Hubbard?
I know about L. Ron Hubbard. I didn't know about that
but
movie.
he was a sci-fi writer. He was actually a pretty famous sci-fi writer.
Yeah, back in the
Hung out with
back in the
Robert
40s.
Heinlein and Isaac Asimov and all those dudes.
Yeah, and he's reportedly said one time back in 1947 or 48, this writing is a lot of fun and I enjoy it, but if I really wanted to make money,
Right.
Start my own
my
religion.
Start my own religion, and supposedly in a bar when they were all in their cups, they dared him. And he did.
Scientology was born.
Yay!
You can get into there's some really weird stuff there because
Yeah.
he was also Aleister Crowley,
Yeah.
and then that ties into Jack Parsons from Jet Propulsion Laboratories,
Yep.
the old original NASA.
Yep.
There was a connection with all that stuff. And
Wow.
it's really
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
there's some kind of weird stuff going there.
Weird
if you
occult
go
business.
down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Interesting.
But Battlefield Earth was terrible.
Yeah, it was a bad. That
Yeah,
was a bad.
really
movie.
terrible. But the book was great. I love the book.
I'm pretty sure I saw that movie. That title sounds familiar, but that's a number of years ago.
It was no.
Yeah.
John Travolta was a big giant alien.
Yeah, I did like his alien getup. He was
Well,
he was
yeah.
a good alien.
Yeah.
Staying alive, staying alive. Sorry. Bad imitation. Well, anyways, we hope that the Sawmill Theaters, maybe only 2 more weeks, and we'll be open and up and running again.
We're hoping for August 14th, but we were hoping for July 31st, and we were hoping for July 15th, and we were hoping for July 1st, and it just keeps going. So
Wonder if we can get Space Truckers for one of the classic movie days.
Space Truckers.
I keep getting voted down for my suggestions for classic movies.
I can't imagine.
we're still set for we had Out of Africa. It was going to be
Oh, yeah.
was going to be our
Oh my word, that's
July movie, I think. So
yeah, bring bales of Kleenex for that.
so we'll
I thought that was a
Yeah.
stupid movie, but I
I
sure
loved it.
liked the photography.
I loved it.
It was
I
gorgeous,
loved
gorgeous to watch. Dumb
it.
movie.
Meryl
though.
Streep and Robert Redford, amazing, and a true story. I mean, sort of.
It's too smoochy.
so
Oh, stop.
as of right now, that would be our Labor Day movie.
Really?
Okay.
The start of September.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as of right now.
Well,
So
Kind of-
romance movies are your least favorite, then it sounds like.
No, just that one. I like Sleepless in Seattle. I like romance movies. So,
yeah.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Another scene from a time long ago. Anyway, we're out of time. We got to go, but
No.
thanks. Yeah,
No,
but wait,
no.
there's less.
Wait.
Anyway, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live, and we always have fun with your hometown movie guys every Friday. Make sure you tune into KRIM FM here, 96.3 FM. And
Nanu.
yeah, there you go. And also, again, but thanks for joining us live on Facebook Live. We appreciate it.
Yep.
And get back to watching the radio, 96.3 FM KRIM. We got all kinds of good stuff going on for you. Thanks again. Have a great day.